Newcastle, nice to see a new face or two here. Going very welcome. This afternoon we've got the pleasure of Mark Hawken, who's going to be coming on to give a talk on the conspiracy, the esoteric, and if you have any questions on that, the way I ask you to do it is you have got paper and pens. There's going to be a lot of stuff we'll talk about that you'll probably not have a clue about, so if there's anything, then I ask that you put it in a note. And how I propose to run it is that Mark's going to come on for 45 minutes, he'll do a talk, he'll take a few questions, and then we'll have a break for the nicotine lovers in the audience. Now, the second part of his talk is going to try and include some of the questions that you'll have made a note of, and he'll try and include that in the second part of his talk. So without further ado, could we have a big hand and introduce Mark?
Oh, this is fun. I should explain, there's been no real preparation put into this, and the reason for that, although I shouldn't destroy it hopefully, the reason for that is there's so many subject areas. I've seen so many people giving presentations on different aspects of what's actually going on and trying to enlighten others as to how it all works. And they spend perhaps too much time with their presentations itself. What I've found over the years, and I've always worked behind the scenes on this, never in the public eye, so this is all new to me up until I appeared on TV 18 months ago, and it's all sort of kicked off from there. So, not wanting to make any excuses, I've never spoken in public before. The closest I've ever got to that is training rooms in a building society or a bank or whatever. So it dawned on me that to actually take on the huge subject area that I want to take on, because I do have insights which I found over the years actually help people if they can be communicated in the right way. To take on this subject is a vast one. That's why, if you have questions, write them down. I will try and draw you into conversation at some point anyway, or individuals, however it goes. And we'll really wing it, because there are things that I want to cover, and I will constantly try to bring it round to that subject area, and if something is, in my view, not relevant to today, I'll politely try and move on from it. If you have any serious questions about anything, jot them down. I'll take them at the end of this session and try and incorporate it into where it goes afterwards, as has been pointed out. So, where do you start? Certainly, this is perhaps a more friendly audience than any I could ever expect. Previously, it's been a TV camera, and they don't bite. So they tell you anyway. The point is that we in this room mostly have woken up at some point, and this phrase "woken up" is a bit patronising, but there you go. It's one that everyone seems to understand. We've woken up to varying degrees. We've been triggered into that awakening, for want of a better word, by different things. Each and every one of us will have our own story. It's not my intention to sit here and tell you mine, or, well, I will touch on things, I will point out my experience, and try and qualify it for you. But what I'm not going to do is prove anything to you. I'm going to let you do that, because that actually is the key. I've seen too many speakers saying you must believe this, you must believe that, this is how it works. And when some subject areas are touched upon, such as numerology, the esoteric side of the conspiracy, and all this sort of thing, it does get very complex, and quite honestly, if you haven't got a head for numbers, it will put you to sleep. I've seen all of this, wonderful diagrams, geometry, sacred geometry, it's all great, but do you take it in? Does an individual take it in? Some do. I know there's a couple in this room who do. And probably more than that. Each person has their own level of understanding. I fell into this 30 years ago, and that particular path brought me to David Icke, many others, who were trying to talk about these things at the time. Prior to that, my path had led me into, I was a mortgage specialist basically, banking, finance, as I think I've mentioned once before, not that it's any great accolade, I was the youngest or second youngest, we still don't know, person to attain the fellowship of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. That's worthless. In fact, I've torn the certificates up a long time ago. The whole point of becoming a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers is to understand their system. Well, I found anomalies in that system, and I simply wanted to have a better understanding. So, being me, I pursued them, which caused a little bit of hassle in the career. Being the youngest person, second youngest, whatever, to attain that, people took interest in me. People I didn't know. You can imagine, this is where the secret societies come in. Your Freemasons, your Druids, you name them, they're out there. And because I had these letters attached to my name at such a young age, somebody somewhere thought, he's the sort of guy we can use. Well, that's what I let them believe for many years. I will state now, I am not, nor have I been, a member of a secret society. All right? I have, however, been dragged into them, persuaded to join them. The Freemasons being the obvious one. I had 2 or 3 years of great fun saying, no, I'm not going to join the Freemasons. And then one day saying, all right, I concede, I'll join. Then they ask you a series of questions, one of which is, are you a member of any other secret societies? I don't know, I'm not, but I fully understand what you will teach me at 33rd degree and beyond, which caused utter silence. I then had to explain myself. The reason I got to know this was because I independently took a look at, does anyone here know this phrase, the Eightfold Way? Do we have any Buddhists or anyone who follows what you could call the New Age? The Eightfold Way underlies history. 8 will keep coming into this talk today, as will a few other numbers. And what I want to do is try and show you what these numbers mean. You have people out there with numerology saying, oh, the number 19, you're going to have a shit day today. You know? It's crap. There is an element of truth in it, but the way it's portrayed today is pure crap. And it's picked up by people within, for want of a better word, the New Age movement, which was actually officially established in this country back in the 70s at the behest of the secret services. I hate that phrase, secret services, it was MI5, whereby Druid and Wiccan orders were, it was suggested, set up to, for want of a better word, net people, good minds, all thinking independently, bring them in and actually teach them these esoteric laws and knowledge. Now you find this in Wicca and Druidry. The Druids incidentally run the world. I don't know if anyone's actually pieced this together from their studies into the conspiracy. This is who is behind it. This does not make Druids or their knowledge wrong or bad in any way. At some point in recent history, secret societies were infiltrated. They were literally taken over. Any researcher, and there's probably people in this room, could actually put a date on that. The point I keep making is that if you go